Hi guys, this is a story that's been flying very much under the radar when the media is instead talking about small boats and people in ex-hotels. So Larry Ellison is the CTO of Oracle, one of the biggest companies in the world, and he was the richest man in the world for a day, I believe, as a result of his investments in AI. Now, what he's suggesting here, along with Tony Blair, the former Prime Minister, is a concentration of data and allowing AI tools to access that data. Now, there are benefits and there are massive costs related to this. So first, have a listen to what he had to say.
Your body cams will be transmitting that. The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
When you come to government and what government's doing, there are artificial intelligence tools, and some of them I know that Oracle have developed around financial management for government. But also, tell us a bit about because you're right at the forefront of this revolution, what it means for what government should do in terms of its digital infrastructure, digital ID, data centers, and so on.
How do you take advantage of these incredible AI models? And the first thing a country needs to do is to unify all of their data so it can be consumed and used by the AI model. You have to take all of your healthcare data, your diagnostic data, your electronic health records, your genomic data. And in the Middle East, in the UAE, for example, they're incredibly rich in data. They have a lot of population data. The NHS in the UK has an incredible amount of population data, but it's fragmented. It's not easily accessible by these AI models. We have to take all of this data we have in our country and move it into a single, if you will, unified data platform. So we provide context. When we want to ask a question, we've provided that AI model with all the data they need to understand our country. So that's the big step. That's kind of the missing link. We need to unify all of the national data, put it into a database where it's easily consumable by the AI model, and then ask whatever question you like.
Okay, so I want to be as balanced as possible here. So first of all, I want to say about how this could be a positive thing. So you can imagine a situation where all of your medical data, all of your personal data is put together in a centralized location. So for example, when you go to the GP and you say, look, I have this problem, that the GP isn't just trying to diagnose the problem on their own. They have a huge database behind them, and they have an AI tool that can access that data and come up with, and consider things like where you live, your job history, stress levels. All of this information can be put together, and a proper diagnosis or a better diagnosis can be given to the doctor, and then the doctor can prescribe whatever treatment. Now, this is really positive. Having been able to access it, but also not just you, but it could be related to your family history. If there were conditions in the past related to your family, all of these things. Now, these are really positives when it comes to healthcare in particular. But on the other side, of course, there are serious concerns. So there are privacy concerns for the individual. There are security vulnerabilities. For example, we're talking about a single company, maybe like Oracle, managing huge troves of data. And this, of course, if you have it all centralized in one place, is going to be very attractive to hackers and state-sponsored cyber attacks. Now, Oracle have a long track record of vulnerabilities, and this has drawn criticism. And a breach where all our data is concentrated in one place would be catastrophic. Now, the government and of course, political parties would try to access this data as well. They would like to buy access to this data. And of course, using this data to clamp down on protest or to use it against individuals is, of course, really concerning. There's also the issue of monopolies. So if one company is controlling all the data or controlling the gateway to this data, then they can charge a premium. And they can also stifle competition. They can block out other companies from accessing the data, or the companies they don't want accessing this data. This is really concerning. Once again, if you want to have the data centralized, it must be in a way that there is competition, or it's at a state level, that individual states have access to this information or control this data, as opposed to private companies. There's also the issue of transparency and accountability. These are huge corporations and their motivations are profit driven. So they're not going to be their interest is not going to always align with citizens and governments. So these are just some of the issues that need to be dealt with before we hand over all our data to companies like Oracle. This is going to happen. So it's important that we have measures in place, regulations in place, and it's governments that need to push this. We can't allow the private sector to dictate the policies. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.